Dr. Rathod, social media in India seems inundated with Totkas, these so-called magical remedies. Can you explain their sudden proliferation?
Absolutely. With India's vast population and increasing internet penetration, social media has become fertile ground for Totkas. They cater to people's desire for quick fixes to complex issues from health to wealth. A 2022 survey showed that 67% of Indian internet users have encountered Totka content at least once.
That's quite a statistic. However, isn't there a concern about the credibility of these remedies? A friend of mine tried a Totka for better sleep, based on moving furniture, with no result.
Exactly, the issue lies in the lack of empirical evidence. These practices often exploit cultural beliefs and superstitions without scientific backing. This can mislead consumers, creating a false sense of assurance, much like the placebo effect but without the safety net of clinical trials.
So, could the future see stricter regulations on such content to protect consumers?
Indeed, that's a possibility. As awareness grows, there could be calls for platforms to vet content more rigorously, perhaps with regional experts examining the cultural and scientific validity of these claims before they're allowed to spread.
Moving on, Dr. Rathod, you mentioned that Totkas have evolved into a capitalist activity. How does this economic aspect influence their dissemination?
In the digital era, any content with high engagement potential becomes a lucrative opportunity. Totka creators monetize their content through ads and subscriptions. This creates a motive for quantity over quality, as seen in the rise of Totka influencers who often lack genuine expertise.
But doesn't this commercialization also lead to a saturation point, where the audience becomes desensitized to such content?
A valid point. However, the constant stream of new solutions keeps the audience hooked, much like a never-ending series of cliffhangers. This cycle is perpetuated by the fear of missing out, driving consumers to try the next big Totka in hopes of finding the elusive quick fix.
It sounds like a vicious cycle. Could we see a shift towards more authentic content as audiences grow weary of these tactics?
Certainly, as digital literacy improves and critical thinking is encouraged, the demand for authentic, evidence-based content could rise, prompting influencers to shift towards more credible offerings.
Let's discuss the psychological effects. What impact do Totkas have on the mental well-being of their consumers?
Totka content can lead to dependency, as users may rely on these remedies for reassurance rather than seeking professional help. A study in 2023 highlighted that 54% of young Indians felt increased stress and anxiety after following unverified online advice.
That's concerning. I recall a case where a student used a Totka to improve exam performance, only to face disappointment. Are there any counterarguments that suggest benefits from these practices? How might this change in the future? Could education play a role in mitigating these effects? Finally, Dr. Rathod, what measures could be implemented to regulate the spread of Totka content on social media?
Certainly, the government could legislate stricter penalties for spreading unverified health and safety information, much like the regulations against fake news. This would act as a deterrent for content creators spreading harmful Totkas. Yes, there is potential for companies to invest in educating users about digital literacy, helping them recognize credible sources. This proactive approach could foster a more informed user base, ultimately benefiting both the platforms and their consumers.